This is the first in our series of Vale of Rheidol and Brecon Mountain Railway collaboration videos. This is my first time down here from Aberystwyth to the Brecon Mountain Railway this year, and I'm fortunately joined by Huw here, who knows a lot more about this area than I do. So I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about the whole Merthyr Tydfil area and its industrial heritage.
Okay, yeah, greetings. We're at the northern edge of Merthyr Tydfil, industrial-wise. This is limestone country. We've left the iron ore, we've left the coal, but this is crucially important. Limestone would be a flux as a kind of soothing agency in the making of quality iron ore. So around us are limestone quarries which would need supplying the various works in downtown Dowlais and Merthyr Tydfil. How to get them from the quarry to the furnace, railway lines. So we're at the edge of a railway network which in its day was absolutely, well, not just unique, but immeasurably important in the continued industrial prowess of Merthyr Tydfil and the whole area along the heads of the valleys, by which I include the western and eastern valleys of the Gwent coalfield, the central coalfield here, and right the way down to the ports of Newport, Cardiff and latterly Barry Docks.
So even though we're in South Wales, people might think, oh, it must be coal railways, but actually there's a lot more to it than that, isn't there?
Yeah. We've got one foot in the countryside. We're on the very edge of Brecon. We're on the very southern limit of Banau Genedlaethol Cymru, Banau Brycheiniog, the renamed Brecon Beacons National Park. This is high ground. This is impenetrable ground as far as the railway was concerned until the technology and the metallurgy was available to punch a line through the highest points of this terrain to get north to Brecon. Nobody was much interested in going north. All the railway lines, the canal, the roadways, as today one would discern, went south to the coast. That's where the goods found market. But what of Breconshire and the contributing counties you've come in from Aberystwyth this morning? Population and foodstuffs in abundance were needed to maintain this industrial network here. How to get them in quickly, cheaply, efficiently? One word answer: railways.
Railways. I see that we've got what looks to be like a tunnel ventilation shaft right next to the station building here, clearly from a different period. What's the story of that?
These are fondly known as the pepper pots, for obvious reasons. I wonder if many people, unless born of a certain generation like myself, would realise that we are standing above, and these were the ventilation shafts for the Morlais Tunnel, fondly known locally as the Myler Tunnel, because it was, you'd be shocked to hear, about a mile long.
Well.
And it connected the line coming from Newport through underground, the golf course, the quarry, on a wide loop into Merthyr Tydfil town proper. There was no other way.
Right.
Now you can follow that route from the other end of the Myler Tunnel on the Taff Trail, bike it or walk it. You cross two stupendous purpose-built viaducts, Ponsarn and Kevin Coyd. The line then disappears under the A470 and new developments, not least Trago Mills. But that's the geography, that's the location I'm talking about. This was a crucial linkage. 1879, it was broken to get a connection from the Gwent valleys into Merthyr Tydfil, and therefore further out west through the Aberdare Tunnel towards Neath and Swansea.
It really shows the extent to which engineers went just to connect these various towns in South Wales, the importance of that industry in this area, doesn't it? Tunnel after tunnel, viaduct after viaduct.
That's right.
It didn't matter.
Didn't matter. Nothing was insuperable. Just put your mind to engineering. It was done efficiently. It was built to last, and it connected Merthyr Tydfil with every point of the compass until the 1960s.
So we're standing now on the site of the original Pant station. What was the history of this station and the railway that came through here?
This is a new vista for me entirely. This took the line from Newport northwards towards Brecon, or if you wanted to veer off, into Merthyr Tydfil. We're on the edge of the countryside, and this line would bring freight, passengers. 8 a day were departing on this line, going north and south. It would bring farm produce, fresh milk, poultry into Merthyr Tydfil, and of course it brought a much needed population from your part of the land, Montgomery, Meirionydd, coming south to work, not so much in the ironworks now, I'm talking now being 1870 onwards, but in the southern collieries, Merthyr Vale, deep navigation, there's a significant name, Treharris, crying out for manpower. They were digging coal a mile underground. This was Coal Society Wales. It was being fuelled by the labour from mid Wales and from England and from Devon and Somerset. And they were coming in, propelled here on one-day journey by railway.
Right. So this is the Brecon and Merthyr Railway then, isn't it?
Yes.
Or
yes.
as it was often called, the Breakneck and Murder Railway.
That's right. It was a music hall joke. It never ran on time. A would-be suicide case laid his head down on this line many years ago and did finally perish through starvation, because no train was coming for the next few days. It's a standby joke. It had borrowed livery from the Midland Railway of orange and red. It was a scenic journey, as is today for sure. It was an iconic route, and it linked Brecon. It was in Brecon's interests more so. Brecon put up the finance, the Wilkins Bank.
To connect themselves to the world.
Let's come south.
George
Thomas Clark, trustee of the Dowlas Ironworks, at the opening banquet, Castle Hotel, May the 1st, 1863, talked about this line opening up Brecon as what he called the Yorkshire of South Wales. That the produce, the human population, the potential into mid-Wales was boundless. He had this energy and this vision that linked North and South Wales, not just East and West Wales, will bring people, for the benefit of the whole of Wales, into relatively well-paid employment in the burgeoning South Wales valleys, which, as I said, is now coal mining as much as it is steel making.
And what's quite sad, really, that statement is quite true today, isn't it?
Yes.
In that we are left once again today without a railway that connects North and South Wales. So we've got the same problem again.
That's it.
150 years later.
That's right, that's right.
Because this was a beaching, I assume this was closed during the beaching period.
Just before.
It
ran freight for the last few years. It was crucial during the Second World War, taking coal to the Midlands. There was the ICI ammonia works just a mile south of where we are, which transported at night liquid ammonia, coal supplies, passengers, but only in the daytime. And of course, we forget the railway system was a major employer and a major consumer of best quality South Wales smokeless steam coal, and of course all the metallurgy for repair and maintenance from local foundries. Railways was the lifeblood of Merthyr Tydfil in more ways than is actually obvious. You set your clock and your daily regime by the railway timetable.
That's amazing. However, nowadays there's another railway here that still employs just under 30 people. And we'll go over there and have a look at that now.
Certainly.
So the Brecon and Merthyr Railway closed in 1964, I believe, was it?
Yes, that's right.
And the Brecon Mountain Railway over there, on a different site now, that opened quite a while after. What was the story of?
Well, a guy called Anthony, or I always knew him as Tony Hills, a bear of a man, very affable. He and his wife got because behind every great man, of course, is an even greater woman. He and his partners and a whole bevy of railway enthusiasts made a best fist from the late 1970s in making a dream come true. They couldn't use this site here, so they purpose-built what is now the terminus of the Brecon Mountain Railway, and it opened 1980. Tony and his wife were living at the Ponsticket Junction station master's house stroke signal box. I think he was building the place to make it habitable around him.
And that's the next stop down here, isn't it?
That's Ponsticket Junction, yes. His wife was working in one of the local schools, so she had a prowess as a more than prodigious cook and caterer. And for about a year and a half, Shunter's restaurant, which few people remember, was serving some of the finest fare at the beginning and at the end of this railway line. Oh, wow. So Tony's dream came to fruition through indefatigable effort on his part with a whole host of like-minded enthusiasts. Piecemeal, they built the whole infrastructure, the locomotives, the railway lines. I was telling you earlier, it came to a shuddering halt somewhere round about the late 1980s. They could not get a narrow gauge track for love or money. And then if you ponder, you'll realise why. Everything was being commandeered for the push through the Eurotunnel linking England and France. Once that was completed, there was a glut of such stock on the market, and therefore from Ponsticket northwards through to Donegal, which is not an actual halt, and then upwards, alas, after Tony's time, to the present stopping point on the edge of Torpantay platforms and tunnel.
So it was really the dream of Tony Hills and his business partner Peter Rampton as well, of course, who had the collection, or Collection X as we call it now, up on the Vale of Rheidol. It was their joint dream, as it were, that created this railway. And it was designed in a place where you have a good catchment of people who would be potential customers, and also in an area which has a rich railway history.
That's right. And he was working 24/7, didn't stop night and day throughout all the seasons and weathers. We're on the 1,000 feet plus contour line. The winters can be severely harsh in this part of South Wales, but nevertheless he had a dream to make it viable, and by dash he did it. All praise to him. Tony, if you're listening to this from somewhere up in heaven, this is your legacy, and the whole of South Wales is mighty proud of what he and like-minded enthusiasts and partnerships and financiers and everybody has broken in his memory now. We should not forget that. I think there are major celebrations of 45 years come this beginning of June.
Absolutely, yes, 45 years of Brecon Mountain Railway.
There we are. Wow, be there, miss it and weep. Well, what I have here, a Brecon and Merthyr Railway Rules and Regulations pocketbook, 1865, which was once in the ownership of Rhys Morgans of 44 Francis Street, Dowlais.
Right.
That house still stands to this day.
Well.
And here is almost a Bible for life. His would be a job for life, and it gives all the rules and regulations for the efficient running of this railway line.
Amazing.
I've yet to go through it all. I know that the Taff Vale Railway, when it first opened, insisted on only married men being station masters.
Well.
And that a Bible be placed in every railway waiting room. Now, I wonder if the same is contained within these pages here, but this is an absolute jewel.
It is a gem, isn't it?
It's every regulation, signalling, speed, discipline, politeness, the whole lot.
Fantastic.
This is a manual of its time, but it's come down through the years to the present day. Absolutely beautiful.
Brilliant.
And in good.
We're here in the workshop now at Pant Station, the present Pant Station. And behind us, what do we have here? We have one of the newest project that's going on here at the workshop, don't we?
Yep. This has been a fulcrum of engineering endeavour since Anthony Hill's dream all those years ago. Another engineer with a dream, of course, was Richard Trevithick. February 1804, he pioneered the first steam-powered locomotive engine journey on a horizontal plane from Penydarren to Abercynon. It never made the return journey, he never took out patents, and he wandered off to other projects. But the birthplace of the railway locomotive is here in Merthyr Tydfil.
Bore da, Cymru. I'm Josh and I'm the marketing officer for Hopetown Darlington, the newly opened and award-winning visitor attraction here in Darlington, North East England. Behind me is Penydarren, a replica of the original locomotive that performed the first ever railway journey back in 1804. Penydarren is on loan from Amgueddfa Cymru Museum Wales. Penydarren forms part of the lineup of 3 historic locomotives for S&DR 200% Railway Pioneers, the first exhibition to celebrate 200 years of the birth of the modern railway here at Hopetown Darlington. We hope you can visit the exhibition, Hopetown Darlington and Darlington itself during 2025 as we celebrate S&DR 200 Festival. Diolch, siarad yn fuan.
And 200 years later,
here we are again.
The son of the founder of the Brecon Mountain Railway, still continuing that legacy.
Yep.
And we have here what will be the only preserved Forney type American engine in service anywhere. So it's nice to see that legacy of constructing old and new going together right here.
All power to you, Matthew. Go for it. The essence of this railway journey, you can look through the exit there at the Brecon Beacons. It was the sheer traction power needed to get this terrain conquered, for want of a better word. Double headers were often the norm to get to Torpantai and then down as a braking mechanism, what was known as the 7-mile bank.
Right.
So over the years, Tony Hills and colleagues have been experimenting. Their initial locos were not powerful enough. So we have number 2 here, which could make the journey to Torpantai where the line ends for the moment.
Yeah.
Never say never, nil desperandum.
Because the first, wasn't it, the first engine was the Quarry Hunter at Sybil, wasn't it?
That's right.
Which was built by Tony in his garden shed.
So I gather, yes, indeed.
Which was an incredible feat. And that pulled the first trains here, didn't it?
Yep,
but obviously that couldn't get very far with one carriage as well. So this was the first engine that could make it all the way to Torpantai.
He was only going to his house at Ponstickes Junction.
Right.
And then back again.
Yeah.
Yes, and I grew up with Hunslets, I remember, in the precincts of the Dowlas Ironworks foundry.
Oh,
and people with long memories will remember them being parked up, almost redundant, over the years.
Well.
So locomotive engines have been part of the DNA of Merthyr Tydfil, of Dowlas, through the years.
Well, that was a fascinating, fascinating to me anyway. I hope you found it fascinating too, just to learn more about why the Brecon Mountain Railway is here and the story of railways in this area. So, as always, be sure to like and subscribe. To see any of the older engines that have worked here in the past, you can visit the Vale of Rheidol Railway Museum in Aber, and we'll see you again in the next one.